Royal expert blasts Meghan and Harry's approach to Sandringham Christmas, saying it's like a school disco. The Montecito malcontents are so desperate to score an invitation to Christmas in Sandringham, but it sounds like the king is not amused. Hello everyone, welcome back to the King YouTube channel. I do love Richard Eden, so he is the diary editor of the Daily Mail, and in the latest edition of Palace Confidential, Richard Eden compared Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's approach to Christmas invitations at Sandringham to an awkward school disco encounter. His opinion is that Meghan and Harry's presence around the Christmas table might make things a lot worse because trust is a very big issue, he said, and he has warned that all tensions will be on show for the photographers if they end up coming. And he's 100% right. What are those two lunatics thinking, even suggesting that they should be invited? What an absurd notion. So Richard Eden said, "This reminds me of the school disco, where if you're not brave enough to ask a girl to a dance, you say, 'Oh, my mate fancies you,' or whatever." He went on to say, "We're not hearing directly from Harry and Meghan, we're hearing from friends." He thinks this strange way of addressing the king through their buddies is not the way to go about things. He said, "So the story in the Sunday Times was that their friends are putting it out that they would really quite like to be invited to Sandringham at Christmas. I mean, come on, this is no way to operate, is it?" I love this comparison. He is spot on. I mean, it is such a weird way to go about things, isn't it? I mean, let's just try to put ourselves in the king's shoes, because even though he is the king of England, he's still a human being. Just imagine if somebody in your family wanted to be invited to an event that your family was hosting, and instead of just telling you directly that they would really like to join, a neighbor, somebody like that, comes and knocks on your door to let you know that, oh, these people would really like to be included. I know what my reaction would be. Well, they should probably tell me that themselves. And according to Richard Eden, the same applies for Harry and Meghan. He remarked, "Perhaps they could invite the king to California or something, but we're getting this regular briefing now of what they're saying their friends are saying. I don't know if it's because they've got these Hollywood agents." He probably is onto something there with the Hollywood agents, because let's remember in Hollywood, nobody speaks to each other directly. It's always through agents or lawyers or somebody like that. And I guess Meghan has convinced Harry that since they're Hollywood celebrities now, I mean, they can't be seen communicating directly with family members. No, that is best done through the media. According to the experts over at Palace Confidential, though, a better way of going about Christmas invitations was for the Sussexes to make direct contact with other members of the royal family and say, "It would be lovely to see you this Christmas." And I agree with them wholeheartedly. I mean, maybe they don't want to approach Charles directly after everything they said about Camilla and Charles himself, but at the same time, surely they could go to somebody. I mean, even Eugenie, she was their mole in the family after all. I don't know what's happened with that situation now, but surely they could just call somebody up and say, "We really want to make peace with you. We want to come back. We're ready to make amends." But see, in that case, they actually would need to apologize at some point, and they would need to try to make amends, which I am 100% certain they will never be ready for. But Richard Eden and the rest are right when they say that this letting the information slip out through friends is certainly no way to go about it. Richard Eden concluded by saying, letting it be known through friends, I mean, it really does seem pathetic. Pathetic, desperate, whatever you want to call it. I mean, they've really sunk to a whole new low here. They can't even communicate directly with the family, so now they have to do it through US media. How pitiful can two people be? According to sources who spoke with the Times, the conversation could be a turning point in the relationship between Meghan and Harry and the king. But Rebecca English says that it might not be the right time for Meghan and Harry to so publicly force a reconciliation with the firm. She said, "Every sounding I've taken, no one can tell me 100% whether they're going to be there or not be there. But they said plans are very much in place now, and they don't seem to figure." Well, that is another aspect of this entire mess that we've discussed previously. The royal family doesn't really do spontaneity. I mean, everything is carefully planned well in advance. They have people whose jobs it is to do only that. So Meghan and Harry thinking they can just show up at the drop of a hat, it's not realistic. There is a lot more to it than finding a couple of extra chairs to pull up to the table. And this is something Harry knows, so I don't know why he's acting like this is a possibility. Honestly, it would be nearly impossible in the best of circumstances, but let's remember, for the past nearly 4 years since Harry and Meghan left the firm, they have made a career out of trashing the family for money. So why would the family want to allow them to join them for Christmas? It doesn't make sense. Rebecca English says, but the point was made to me that they felt it would be unlikely anyone would welcome them with open arms. She said that trust is still a very big issue because so much water has gone under the bridge over recent years. She went on to say, people have repeatedly made the point to me, it's not that the king doesn't want to build bridges with his son, he does at some point. But they feel moves need to be made behind the scenes, and trying to involve them in a big public event like Christmas at Sandringham will just seem a little bit forced. This is a very good point that she is making. Harry has had multiple opportunities to visit his father. If he had really wanted to schedule a visit with his father when he came to the UK back in September, I'm sure that he could have. I know the king was busy, but still, Harry didn't give notice. That's also why Harry had to find his own accommodation and wasn't allowed to stay in any of the palace properties. He acted like an inconsiderate brat, and he simply refused to give details about this trip. He refused to give them advance notice. It is obvious why Harry and Meghan want to return for Christmas. They're just desperate to reinvigorate that royal connection. So I'm glad that the royal family is seeing through this little game they're trying to play. Rebecca also explained that all the tensions will be on show for the photographers as they walk down to the church on Christmas morning, and she concluded by saying it just doesn't seem to be the right event. Christmas is supposed to be a peaceful time. It's supposed to be a time to get together with beloved family members you can trust, and just celebrate the holiday season. Harry and Meghan don't fit in. I mean, at this point, they have made it clear they hate the royal family. I mean, how do they envision this walk to church on Christmas morning going? What, do they want to be photographed with Harry looking miserable and stoned while Meghan's flashing that rictus grin, and then William and Catherine are doing everything in their power to avoid them altogether? Is that really what they want? Royal correspondent Natasha Livingstone also said that fueling all the more tensions to the rift is how rarely the king gets to see Harry and Meghan's children, Archie and Lilibet. She said, I think the fact that he's seeing more of the grandchildren of the Prince and Princess of Wales is very much related to this. She added, I mean, having such a painful family estrangement, he's not seen Archie and Lilibet in a long time. It's got to be linked. She says that he's just down the road from the Prince and Princess of Wales, and he can spend more time with his grandchildren, which is something he's really keen to do, and obviously is well received all around. Well, let's be fair to the Sussexes here. The reason the king can't see those grandchildren is because they're not real. I mean, this whole idea is so preposterous. And I don't think Meghan and Harry want to address that little issue either. I mean, how are they going to show up at Christmas without the invisible children with them? How are they going to explain that away? What, the kids just love Doria so much they wanted to stay back in Montecito with her? Or are they going to tell the truth and say that the parents didn't want to lend out their kids anymore? What explanation could they possibly give? Richard also talked about what he feels is Meghan's desperation to be on camera. Yeah, that's putting it mildly. He said she's attending lots of events. It's usually concerts performed by other people or sporting events. It's not really things that she's doing. It's quite odd. He also points out that if Meghan and Harry had just stayed with the firm, they would have been involved in the pomp and pageantry of this week's state visit from the President and First Lady of South Korea, which saw VIPs like K-pop group Blackpink visiting Buckingham Palace. He said, we've seen the sort of full splendor of the monarchy with the state visit. They really plow it on, and Catherine's been looking magnificent. And if Harry and Meghan had stayed, they would have been an integral part of that. They would have been waiting for the President of Korea with William and Catherine. So if he wouldn't have done that, that would have been Harry and Meghan as we saw in the past. He's making a very good point here. I mean, now Meghan and Harry are so desperate to be viewed as celebrities, when in fact they had all the celebrity power in the world when they were working members of the royal family. They were the ones who chose to throw all of that away. And now, as Richard Eden says, Meghan is just sort of another celebrity on the red carpet. And you, what do you think of these views? Please let me know your opinion below in the comments section. If you enjoyed our video today, please do like and share it with anybody else who would appreciate it too. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.